Alright, so I just watched the new episode of Northern War. I watched the episode of Pokemon. Sorry, I'm in a slightly different spot. I'm going to be moving back and forth because I like doing that in this chair. It's a very nice swivel chair. But I watched Pokemon, I watched Northern War. They were both kind of this week, if I'm being honest. Northern War was kind of boring. Essentially, this episode was at the end of the last one. Lavi got shot. This one is okay, so she went back home to recover and recuperate, and when she's there, she's able to feel a bit better, realizes that the people in her village are, pretty nice people, and like, I need to become a hero to protect these people because that's what I need to be fighting for, which is good motivation. Like, it's not bad or anything, but I think I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, guys, this is called Northern War, and the war hasn't fucking started yet. That's what I'm here for. Like, as a Trails fan, as someone who, loves Cold Steel 3 and was like, I want to learn all this shit about Northumbria. I want Northumbria politics and culture, which I've been getting in the last few episodes, and I also want to see the Ding Dang conflict, and it just hasn't happened. It's been a lot of build-up to it, which is not inherently a bad thing, but I feel like it's like, okay, if this feels like a show that is less made for general audiences, and maybe slightly be like, hey, if you're kind of interested, check out the games. It feels like it's made for people who have played the games. As such, I don't feel like I needed all of this build-up. Some of it, sure, but essentially, you could probably cut or heavily condense those first few episodes of the Northumbrian characters traveling around Erebonia, cut out those episodes, condense them a bit, and kind of get to the point already. This is not inherently a bad episode. Alright, it's the moment where the main character, a lot of crazy shit is going down, and they reaffirm their convictions, what they need to do. That's good on paper, especially if it's supposed to be right before the climax, but we haven't even gotten really to the meat of the conflict yet. I don't know. It might be because I'm also just kind of in a bad mood. I won't lie. It's been one of those kind of days where just a little bit of a lot of annoying shit, or a lot of little annoying things, and they've just been kind of building up. And I haven't even started my shift yet, so we'll see. But I wasn't super impressed because at this point I'm like, can we just get to the dang point? Moving on to Pokemon. This is the Team Rocket episode. They're getting all their old Pokemon back, at least the ones with Giovanni. So, they're not getting Dustox, Arbok, and Weezing. They made cameos. It's them remembering all their old Pokemon. We're gonna do it for them. We're gonna fucking catch Pikachu. So I went in expecting this is gonna be Team Rocket's last episode. This is them getting their old squad together, doing one last heist. It's not going to work. And then, I guess we'll probably get their ending. And so, okay, first off, the fact that there's they get their mission and all their Pokemon back from a giant gold Giovanni statue that blows up after talking to them, I loved that. The fact that it was the old Delibird that delivered all the shit too, I was like, I appreciated that. That's a good callback. I actually liked their plan. I was like, okay, we're going to send in Mime Jr. as a cute, adorable Pokemon that's running from Team Rocket and needs help. And immediately Pikachu sees it as I remember you. I know you. I know exactly who you work for. And Pikachu's expressions for the next few minutes were gold. They end up leading Mime Jr. ends up leading them into a trap where it was Yanmega and Amoonguss, I think, who attack them. And Brock ends up being hey, I'll stay behind. You guys keep going. And he distracts them with maracas and a dance. Okay, this is really funny and entertaining. They go a little more forward. Misty ends up distracting the next two. I don't remember exactly who they were. And then Ash ends up holding off the last two, which I think was Gourgeist and Carnivine, with Halooncha and Infernape, who are the only two to be in this episode. Okay, so I can't be mad about this episode not having a lot of returning Pokemon and stuff, because it has Team Rocket's returning Pokemon. It's I'll give it its credit for that, for sure. But you see Halooncha and Infernape, and he's like, alright, Pikachu, you go deliver Mime Jr. to where he's trying to go. And Pikachu does that, and then Team Rocket, with another, I think 3 Pokemon each, plus Meowth, just start ambushing Pikachu. And this is happening. Latios sees this and telepathically communicates with Ash, hey, come get your boy. And Ash is like, oh shit, let me go get my boy. So he goes, gets his boy. They fight Team Rocket. Latias ends up saving Ash when he's about to fall after saving a slack off. Or, is that it? Slack off, Vigoroth, slacking. So yeah, slack off from a big fall. Latias saves him, and Ash is like, "Is that you, Latias?" Then she goes uninvisible, like, "Yeah, it's me." And then Team Rocket doesn't even get blasted off by Pikachu, but they do at the start of the episode, so I guess I'll give it credit for that. Like when they're setting the trap. And then Latias is like, "All right, Psychic," sends him flying. So then, two things happen at the end of the episode. I'll start with the non-Team Rocket part, even though that's technically the ending. Which is Latios gives the whole crew a vision of a Latios, assumedly her brother, because Latios and Latios, one is boy, one is girl. Like, hey, my brother is being captured, this is where he's being held. Can you help me go save him? And I guess that's going to be the penultimate episode of the series, and the penultimate episode of To Aim to Be a Master, specifically, is the Latias that has been following them. I guess she's been following them to see if they're worthy to help them save her brother, or if they're able to help save her brother, rather than, this is an interesting trainer, maybe he's a good guy. Maybe it's a bit of both, I don't know. So so the next episode is they're going to go into this base, save the Latios. Is Ash not going to catch this Latios? You know, her being in every episode and following him, like a lot of the Pokemon tend to recur and follow them, tend to be caught. Is that not what's going to happen? Or is be like, cool, you helped me save my brother, thank you, and then she and her brother just dip? Is that what's going to happen? Is he going to catch a... So it feels like either he'll catch them both, he'll catch neither of them, or he'll catch one of them, and I don't know, maybe one of his other companions gets Latios, or Latios and Latias are like, hey, like, I'm glad I was able to save you, but this guy's cool, I'm going to go with him. Like, we'll see, but I'm starting to get that in the back of my head of, he might not actually catch her. Which feels like a massive disappointment, given that it's like, oh, as soon as they met, and then she was following him, it was like, oh, they're building up to a capture, aren't they? Oh. Maybe not. It just feels disappointing. Like, then what are we building up to then? Like a big climax of saving a Pokemon we've never met before? I mean, that's not terrible. It could be a really fun episode, but it also is just like, if he doesn't catch her, it's disappointing. It just is. Then we get Team Rocket, which their ending is the three of them just start bickering. It's like, hey, well, it's always your fault. Shit goes, well, it's always your guys' fault. It's always you guys' fault. You know, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And then they all go their separate ways, and that's how they end. And all of their Pokemon kind of standing behind going like, what's going on? Like, so who do we follow? And that's how the episode ends for them. And so on the one hand, I'm like, okay, this cannot be how they end Team Rocket. That is so bitter and feels just so out of character for the series. But like, this is how we're leaving them? No, that's not right. So what'll most likely happen is possibly in the next episode or in the finale, we will catch up with them again. If it's in the next episode, it'll probably be cool. They all kind of come back, help Ash and Latios and Latias, blah, 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 and they kind of leave on good terms. Maybe in the final episode, it'll be like, no, they actually did split up, but this is what they all did, and this is kind of how well they're doing, which I think is something that happened in Journeys. But if I'm correct, because I don't think I actually saw those episodes, they ended, I think, they kind of left, I believe, on good terms. Maybe they didn't. But they all left, kind of were having good lives, and then they kind of just had to come back together, and like, well, I guess we'll be miserable together. So maybe they'll do something like that, if this is, like, if this sticks, like, yeah, this is what Meowth ended up doing. He's doing really well without the other two. This is what Jesse and James are doing. They're doing really well without the other two, which is just depressing to think about, and I don't like that. But if it is like, no, okay, they end up coming together in the next episode, they help out Ash, and they leave Ash and crew on good terms, I would be down for that. I really would. But there's also that sense of, this episode, given the context of Aim to Be a Master, this is the end. There's 11 episodes, and we're now on the last 3. We know the synopsis of the finale, which is Ash and Gary just talk. I don't know what other crap is going to happen, but Gary's like, cool, so you've traveled the world, you've become the world champion, you wanted to become a Pokemon master. Are you? Like, do you feel like you've achieved your goal? And I guess it's him and Ash kind of reflecting on the adventure and saying, yes, or no, but almost, or like whatever the answer ends up being. It seems like the penultimate episode is the climax of the Latios thing, and it's like, okay, the anti-penultimate episode is Team Rocket's swan song. Like, they're getting their crew back together. They are giving one final plan. Like I said, I actually kind of like it as a plan. It's a fun plan. It's a pretty hype plan. This feels like a good send-off kind of episode. And it feels like it's kind of ruined by the fact that, A, it doesn't even end with Team Rocket. It's like, all right, we also got to have set up this Latios thing, which is like, okay. And also, this is how we're ending it. So either A, this is their ending and it's terrible, or two, even though this feels like it would have been a good episode to end Team Rocket's story on, we're not actually doing that. Which to me just kind of feels like, so you're just wasting my time? Is that what Aim to Be a Master is? Was it just a waste of time? It was like, I've liked a lot of the individual episodes. And I like, again, the idea of, this is what it means to be a Pokemon Master. It is about going to new places, meeting new friends, helping, like, getting to know them, and helping them solve their problems without having to resort to battling, without having to resort to catching. I kind of dig that. I like that a lot. But also, it's like, this has not been the epilogue series that I've really wanted it to be. And when you announce, this is the end of his adventure, and literally the poster has Ash, Misty, Brock, I think Team Rocket were in there too, and every Pokemon he has ever owned, like Sans Haunter, or like the Beedrill or whatever, it's like all the Pokemon in that Vision Pikachu had during the fight with Charizard. I'm like, cool, so we're seeing everybody. This is a goodbye to the OG, trio, to Ash and Pikachu, and to all of the Pokemon they have caught along the way. But it hasn't been that. A lot of times we've gotten episodes with 2 or less returning Pokemon. And even in some of those, like the last one, it's like, cool, we saw 2 Pokemon in his party for this one. It was Gengar and Dragonite, who were in an entire series already. Really? Like, really? This is what we're doing? And I know you could say, it's like, well, it's an episode about Pokemon being abandoned, so Gengar being there because part of his backstory that helps too. It's like, yeah, but I mean, you could have done that for Pignite. You could have done that for Infernape. You could have done that for Charizard. Charizard had a thing with Squirtle, though, so, like, he was kind of good. Like, yeah, Infernape was in this one. You could have put Infernape in that one and put someone else here to battle alongside Halloween. It would have been fine. So that's it. Like, Aim to Be a Master feels like it's fine, not great. But a lot of the individual episodes, I think, are really good. But they haven't quite come together. And maybe by the end, maybe this Latios thing will make me go, oh, okay, this was actually a really good episode. So them kind of building it up a little bit, I feel like it paid off. And we'll see how the finale is. But, man, it's been alright.